sincerely apologize for that. Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. The headlines. 4-year-old girl dies after drowning in a septic tank. BOWMAN LUSAMBO sues Lake Oil Group of Companies Limited, demanding $600,000 United States dollars. Let distribution of inputs to affect 2022 harvest in Chief LITETA'S area. In international news, Syria economic crisis displaced struggle as aid groups cut funds. And in sports, FAS suspends NKANA football club striker Alex Ngonga for misconduct. Details coming through after this commercial.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Now the main news in detail. A 4-year-old girl of Lusaka's Chainda compound has died after drowning in a septic tank, while a 3-year-old has survived the accident. Speaking to Camnet News, the residents have explained that the 2 children fell in the septic tank at a named bar when they were playing on top of the tank, which was covered with iron sheets. The residents explained that the 3-year-old was safely rescued by the residents, but that the 4-year-old was unlucky as she was already dead by the time officers from the Lusaka City Council Fire Brigades Department retrieved her. The 2 children are both from the same household.
This is a septic tank at a bar named as Balos in Lusaka Shainda compound, which residents say has been a death trap for a long time as it is not secured, being covered using only iron sheets and stones. With the bar being located in the midst of houses and the gate being open for most of the day, children walk in and out as they play. A child of the same area has however drowned to death in the septic tank Monday morning between 8 and 9 hours, while playing along with another girl on top of the iron sheets after both of them fell in. Residents explained that the 2 children, believed to be 3 and 4 years old, are daughter and granddaughter of a certain woman in the community who at the time of the interview had already accompanied authorities in taking the body of her daughter who has died to the mortuary.
So sinazio tumana pundira kuti. Nilaundi sinamuona. So nipite so na mteza alimirire hapa. Mwita tani umu nafikira chape kumudosa na kwanja yanga.
So in the umozi olo?
Na pesa umozi. Nishimanzi yafika umu.
Kulumuka ako?
Ndeka mnena pulumusako. So after na mfunsa, mzako alikuti aiwezi wabili. Mzako alikuti sikakamba. Mzako alikuti papita tayo kuti kakamba ati ali umu.
Pali chitambuki kai vana benzosoberera pa mwamba kwende kalidi manje wofaka kalidi muja mukachani kai plampa amasi apo kalidi ko chitirako kusegula ngati chafasa or china fase vasegula ija chani manje plampa sana chai mushika kalidi kaja so kalidi kaja vana posobera kabwera kadirikira mu maona so ndiye vuto ya mene nakena nkakonka kase tweze tuvili
awa chamusha mwancha wachita ewa kuja suppose semeza vara kwa beblo bwino waza tipa mankala mawekaza hapa na bantu amakorewera hapa so ngata zacheka sabe bantu ambira zambo ngofera mwamino.
The 3-year-old girl who has survived also narrates what happened. Mami ati kwa chitika chani kuseni wenza gwera muti? Wenza gwera mobwanje? Ndani?
Kajamanje kama walila
Mwenzo shita bwanje mwenzo sobera? Others have threatened to demolish the bar as they say the owner, identified as Joseph Chinyemba, is not cooperative.
Munganganya bai chibache vechipwanyiwe ndafasika fest ujana mwalira nakambali kutali futa pali kutali so mepo mininga twali kutali nshweve nshinchani nshwalipo bwanji panja kuti pesa kabe bali kutali nchizambo gani zilabo kuti yawe ende vamene washachani kuti ende vamene achita bana wa wichi kapena shani so ndi vameti gani zanapa ndi vameti gani zatiwaganizira
bana maba bakatumiriwa amafoni sibabwera so chitidda busa pinchanja nchilengesa kuti basazifika ngati bantu batumira amafoni.
Camnet News also spoke to the owner of the bar in a phone interview.
Manje sijitakia bwanji because gwamena gwera mwana uyo parent wa mwana ankala pamene hapo. They suppose kucaring abana bake. Manje caring bwanji try.
By broadcast time, the Lusaka City Council LCC had delegated a team on the ground to conduct inspections at the bar. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Some residents of Lusaka's Kanyama compound have expressed disappointment in the manner in which a named couple has been mistreating two orphaned children, both living with disabilities. The neighbors have told this reporter that the children have been made to share the same garage with chickens and they sometimes go days without food. One of the neighbors, Messi Chanda, not her real name, says the children belong to the late sister of the said woman and has wondered why they have been subjected to torture. Meanwhile, a brother to the late father of the children says he will take the 13-year-old as he is only capacitated to keep one child living with disability.
For once, one might think this place is only meant for storing equipment and keeping animals, but two orphaned children aged 13 and 16 years, both living with disabilities, have been made to sleep in this garage by their young mother, who is alleged to be the sister to the late mother of the two children. The neighbors who have been observing the happenings at this house are, however, not happy with the way the couple has been treating the children, who they say were born from a well-to-do family but the hand of their guardian, who they say is a volunteer health worker at Banda Masaoko Clinic in Lusaka's Kanyama compound, while her husband is a businessman who is ever on the move. These children are suffering. The pain they are going through is too much. They have nowhere to sleep, and when the neighbors give them food, they are beaten by their guardians. We have seen people being mistreated before, but for these children, the suffering is worse.
So bana bali pengeti chakwamba barona mu garage tabachitesha kulya na chakukwala balafula mali kushesho ofya mali tababoni onikisi.
The children are suffering. They do not eat at all. They are suffering very much as they are subjected into sleeping in a garage.
they are mistreated by their auntie. And a brother to the late father of the two children who could not appear on camera says he will be taking custody of the 13-year-old boy as he is only capacitated to take care of one child with a disability, while the 16-year-old girl will have to go back to the young mother's place as they look for an alternative place for her to go. The neighbors have since appealed to the relevant authorities to come on board and take the 16-year-old girl to a safe place. We are asking if there is any help that can be rendered to these children. These children came looking very fine and very well dressed, but when you see them today, you will see that they are really suffering. By broadcast time, the children had been taken to the hospital where they are being examined. One only hopes the 16-year-old girl will also be rescued and taken to a better place. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
LITETA village headman in Chivombo district, Edi Kapiha, says the late delivery of farming inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program FISP in his village will negatively affect the crop production. Speaking to Camnet News, the headman says most farmers began planting upon the onset of the rain season, but that they have not yet received their inputs. He has since called for the process to be expedited, fearing that the poor road network may further slow down before the inputs can be delivered. Meanwhile, Chivombo District Commissioner Lloyd Kayeka says most farmers in the district will receive the farming inputs by Saturday, 26th November 2022.
The delivery of inputs for farmers under the Farmer Input Support Program FISP has remained topical every rain season, as farmers were reportedly receiving inputs as late as January of the next year under the previous Patriotic Front administration, negatively affecting the harvest. The United Party for National Development UPND administration, which came into office in August 2021, promised to change this narrative by ensuring that farming inputs are delivered on time. With only a few days before December, LITETA village headman in Chivombo district, Edi Kapiha, is disappointed that no farmers in his village have received any input so far.
And the other problem this time, fertilizer chedwa. Tunamba kulima mvula hapa ishita continuous yangarasias, but we don't have fertilizer, we don't have seeds and fertilizer. And we don't know when tizanga na seeds na fertilizers. Time ya SYRIA. Kairi mvula once karoka mufrika muna seed and fertilizer finka yankara red. Kairi like monti limira ifekuno ma small scale farmers tishanga na fertilizer. So now when there is no fertilizer, it means tina problem ya farming.
Meanwhile, Chivombo District Commissioner Lloyd Kayeka has expressed hope that the inputs will be delivered soon.
All those who were given the task to deliver to Chivombo have reported, and we show them the sheds where they should take the inputs. I am glad to note that seed, as I am speaking, is already in the district. We are just waiting for fertilizers. And I am very sure that, as promised when they passed through my office, those who were given the task to deliver for Chivombo told me that come next week, most of the points of the depots they would have delivered.
Farmers have been calling for the early distribution of farming inputs, as the poor road network in some areas makes them hard to reach, especially in the rain season. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Chivombo District.
In other news, traders at Sekelela Market in Lusaka's Kanyama constituency have expressed gratitude over the commencement of works on the road infrastructure at the market. In an interview, the traders feel their business will improve as the bad state of the road has subjected them to loss of business for quite some time. They have, however, appealed to their lawmaker to consider upgrading their market, which is currently in a bad state. Meanwhile, Kanyama Area Member of Parliament, Monty Chinkoli, says the project which is being implemented under the Constituency Development Fund will begin with economic roads, focusing on problematic areas such as potholes and those portions that are impassable during rainy season.
The poor states of some roads in the country's capital city, Lusaka, is well documented and all too familiar to the residents in various compounds who face impassable roads during the rain season. Recently, the reintegration of roads were flagged off in Lusaka's Kanyama constituency under the Constituency Development Fund CDF road rehabilitation projects. This road that connects Sekelela Market to Mutandabantu Market is now being worked on. Before, the road was impassable each time it rains, thus making business for traders hard as customers would never visit their stands. The traders are now excited by the move to improve the condition of the road to enable them access the markets with ease and make their business better.
Government yachitamushe watikumbuka kalodi yakakala for so long inali matika eka. So we really appreciate what the government have done for this road. Manje chame chifunikira chabe basapelele pamene hapa just because hapa kuzankala ni matika uzafundika kuti kwa bakonza so baikepo na tarmac so that at least ma business yetu mukati umuyaendeko bwino bakapelela pamene hapa nisisi bana solve kuzankala matika again. On top of that again market yatu mwamilione kila sioneka bwino kutoka muntao yabe na MMD monga wabalira kwa banyoni pamwamba pasioneka na bwino. Even people they are not even attracted kuti bangabwele mukati just because of the state of the market mwamene ili
kanza kwali saka ili matika kuzongana migoja ngati moto kaipita kuzongana machalende zote dumbo kuma market na dimanzi so mwamene washitira so dambira kwa bwino mwandine
especially onga futi tikayangana mukati mu market bantu ambiri banataba mu chipa cha surroundings ili green then kuno kunja futi pamene bali school safe maningi but moreover mwana wapangira tamaki hope kusankala green so that na mukati mwamene omu wangashitemo wangasebenzeremo so that namwebe mukare green kati ni bantu bena ngwane wangakwanise kuchoka kuti bapezekemo ambosebenzera mu mukati.
The traders at Sekelela Market have also pointed out the need for the drainages.
Ankara oyamika pamene naona kuti mukonzera ko marodi koma osati bara drainage chifuka ngati manzi ankara pa road zaonekeka musanga so na drainage keveni ningakondwere ngati matikira apo ndio tishi road yatu zakala pantawi itali yosaonekeka
tonga zikomo manengi wa government batukonzera road maebati basapelele pamene apo ndaba road ndiye main road so road bakafaka ukatama kani shibasebenza manengi ero kwenda kusogolo wakati kiloko la ka police bajanki bapakisa manengi monga kona bamenya chimenye
kuno tu ipangire tamaki because tamaki yankala almost kapina ni 20 years or 30 years ipangiwa so hapo ndo mutita tamaki no kampiti roko ndo so mungapitirize chamba sito bamwashita so ati mulikezera hapa ya tizani itamaki konzera this first time.
Meanwhile, Kanyama Area Member of Parliament Monty Chikuli says overall target of the project is to uplift the 101 kilometers of the road network in Kanyama constituency to standard, which road grading constitute project activities. The lawmakers also disclosed that the priority at the moment is to focus on the economic roads.
Not all the roads that we there are particular roads that we have identified as more critical roads where we help movement of people, buses and the like. But as we move on, our aim is to ensure that a number of that's what we're so focused. People may want us to move at a pace that we want, but there are so many constraints.
After taking government in August 2021, the United Party for National Development Administration increased the Constituency Development Fund from 1.6 million to 25.7 million kwacha, and it has been increased further to 28.3 million in the 2023 national budget. This is in order to facilitate for more developmental projects. Miriam Kaimba reporting For Camnet TV News.
The Human Rights Commission has strongly condemned the criminal and barbaric conduct of villagers in Camnet district who assaulted 17 law enforcement officers who were trying to bring calm to the community. Human Rights Commission spokesperson Mwelu Amleya says a total of 9 officers were initially admitted to St. Francis Mission Hospital, while 3 of the victims were critically injured and were admitted to the Intensive Care Unit ICU. Mr. Amleya says the Commission has been informed by medical officers that some police officers suffered broken limbs such as legs and arms, while others had broken noses and teeth, deep cuts on the heads, while others only had soft tissue injuries and multiple bruises. And the Commission has commended the police officers for their exceptional professionalism and restraints from using live ammunition on their assailants, even in the face of imminent danger on their lives.
The Human Rights Commission strongly condemns the brutal attack of 17 police officers by the villagers of Jo and Chinzu villages in Chieftainess Kawazas area in Camnet district of Eastern Province. In line with the constitutional mandate of the Human Rights Commission, immediately we received that information on 19th November. The Commission dispatched its own investigations officers, and indeed we established that 17 police officers were brutally attacked, and nine of them were initially admitted to St. Francis Mission Hospital. 3 of them were admitted in the intensive care unit. However, as of yesterday, 20th November, only 2 officers had remained in admission, one in the intensive care unit who suffered a deep cut on the head, while the other was just out under observation who had suffered a broken nose. The rest had been discharged, meaning that 15 of the police officers had been discharged as of yesterday.
Police in Lusaka, through the investigations team, have arrested and charged the Patriotic Front member Maxwell Chungu and Rosina Mwemba Mumba, a housewife and director of Greenside Suppliers and Investment Limited. Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale says the duo has been arrested for the offense of undertaking construction works without a valid National Council for Construction certificate, obtaining pecuniary advantage or by false pretenses and money laundering contrary to the laws of Zambia. Mr. Mwale adds that the duo, through their company Greenside Supplies and Investment Limited, secured a subcontract with the AFCON's Infrastructure Limited in the construction of the Lusaka City Decongestion Project in May 2019 without a valid National Council for Construction certificate. He says the company thereby obtained pecuniary advantage of $48,520 United States dollars from the government of the Republic of Zambia. The police have since seized a house valued at about 1.8 million kwacha and a Mercedes-Benz truck valued at 140,000, which were proceeds of the money obtained from the contracts. The 2 suspects have been released on police bond awaiting court appearance. Former Lusaka Province Minister BOWMAN LUSAMBO has sued Lake Oil Groups of Companies Limited in the Lusaka High Court, demanding payments of 600,000 United States dollars as his facilitations fee for the company's various investments. According to his submission before the court, the former lawmaker claims to have made an oral agreement with the company and facilitate the company's investment in various portfolios. Mr. Lusambo adds that he was to be paid 5% of any investment made, but the company did not owe up to the agreement. In this matter, Mr. Lusambo is also seeking for damage for breach of the verbal contract to be determined by the court.
That a verbal agreement he made with the company has failed. Former Kabushi area member of parliament BOWMAN LUSAMBO has dragged his once business partner, Lake Oil Group of Companies Limited, to the Lusaka High Court for its failure to abide to an agreement. According to his statement of claim filed before court, Mr. Lusambo alleges that in 2017 the said company, through its agent, approached him so that he would facilitate their investment in various portfolios. In his submission, Mr. Lusambo claims he had made an oral agreement with Lake Ore Group of Companies Limited that he was to be paid 5% of any investment made. He explains that Gulf Adventures, their client, was to release 5% of $3 million United States dollars investment, which was translated to a total of 150,000 United States dollars. While Lake Agro, it was their agreement that he would be paid 5% out of an investment of 5 million United States dollars, translating to a sum of 250,000 United States dollars. And Kapiri Dry Port, it was agreed that he would be paid 200,000 United States dollars as his commission. The plaintiff has lamented before court that despite him making the above investment successful, the company has deliberately refused to honor its contractual obligation to pay him. The former Lusaka province minister is now demanding payment of 600,000 United States dollars as facilitation fees for the company's various investments. He also seeks damages for the breach of the verbal contract to be determined by the court. Other reliefs that Mr. Lusambo seeks before court is damages for financial loss, frustration, trauma, depression, pain, embarrassment, among others, to be calculated by the Lusaka High Court, and interest with cost. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Former Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Dr. Patrick Nkanza has asked the Economic Financial Crimes Court to charge him separately with former Secretary to the Treasury Fritz Nyamba and 5 others. This is in a matter in which Mr. Nyamba is jointly charged with former Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Owen Mugemezulu, Dr. Nkanza, and former Ministry of Education employees Joseph Ntele, Joseph Piri, and Joseph Ngulube. Allegations in one of the court is that Mr. Nyamba, being Secretary to the Treasury and the Ministry of Finance, failed to comply with the law relating to preparation of supplementary estimates of expenditures and the management of funds in authorizing an advance payments of 33,750,000 United States dollars. This was made to China Energy Engineering Group, Henan Electric Power Design Institute for the construction of FDJ Chilua University under the Ministry of Higher Education without a supplementary budget. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more news after this.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Christian Community Church Fundraising Dinner and Church Service. Hosts Pastor Field and Rita Ngalande. Guest speakers Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba. Date 3rd and 4th December 2022. Venue Sally Riverside Resort in Mansa. Time dinner 19 hours to 22 hours. Church service 0930 to 12 hours. Contact us on 0978 042508. Take note, both events will take place at the same place.
Surround me with your grace. Surround me with your power.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generation wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours Monday to Friday at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Thank you for staying with us. We continue with the rest of the main news. The Kalomo Magistrate Court has sentenced a suspect who broke into the local administration office block and stole office equipment worth thousands of kwacha to 3 years imprisonment with hard labor. Appealing before resident magistrate Hamaibo Muya last Friday was Lisbon Kapalaya, 35 of Kalomo Boma compound, who on September 23, 2022, allegedly broke into Kalomo District Commissioner's office and got away with a computer set, printer, Canon photocopier, a microwave, and an office chair or government property valued at 38,000 kwacha. Magistrate Muya found the accused with a case to answer and facts presented by the prosecution desk and how the suspect led to them to the scene of the crime, alongside police having recovered the stolen items from his house, which were presented as an evidence, prompted the court to slap him with a 3-year jail sentence. In passing judgment, Magistrate Muya convicted Kapalaya to 36 months imprisonment with hard labor, who was charged for breaking into a building and committing a felony contrary to Section 303A of the Penal Code Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia. Kapalaya is a classified daily employee working under the Ministry of Health at Chunga Clinic located in Kalomo Boma compound. The United Party for National Development UPND Alliance says it wants to see a political opposition that challenges government by offering alternative, well-researched solutions that will see Zambia develop. Speaking to Camnet News, UPND Alliance partner George Sichula says the opposition in Zambia seems to have forgotten its role and is focusing on defamation and slander of the current administration, which is chasing investors away. He has reminded opposition politicians that they are seeking office for the betterment of the country and not for personal gain, hence the need to preserve the country's image to the outside community.
An opposition which is objective, okay? An opposition which is reasonable. Not these characters we are seeing. They have no direction. They are not attractive. They are not putting the government on its toes to work for the people. They are not helping us to deliver. We want people that will apply brains. Okay, when they talk, the mouth should be connected to the brain so that we benefit from their wisdom. and their advice. I gave, there are examples of people that I can give you who made the government to work. President Sata made Mwanawasa to deliver, okay? And other opposition leaders that I can cite that helped governments to work. So overall, what we are saying is this opposition must game up. Opposition of today must pull up their stockings and do a right thing. Exercise impartiality, exercise holiness. Do not just be judgmental. Don't be too emotional, okay, when talking about these issues, because a man that uses emotions is afraid of reasoning. Yeah, so my advice to our colleagues is that let's exhibit maturity. Let's stop insulting the president and also demeaning the office of the president.
Zambia United for Sustainable Development ZUSD Presidential Assistant Tatila has urged all beneficiaries of the Constituency Development Fund to report any councillor or ward development committees that are demanding monies from their cooperatives to the relevant authorities. In an interview, Mr. Tatila has observed that various councillors and ward development committees are getting a certain percentage from the CDF monies cooperatives have been given. He has since called on the Anti-Corruption Commission to monitor all CDF projects and ensure it is corruption-free, so as to ensure beneficiaries are not disadvantaged.
Zambians United for Sustainable Development, we appeal to members of the public, especially CDF beneficiaries, to report corruption. Because we know that many beneficiaries of the CDF have complained that the ward development committees and the councillors are demanding some monies from the money that they are collecting from government as they are collecting their CDF packages. So for us, we feel that ACC should be able to up its game by not only focusing on politicians, but also to be able to curtail this particular corruption that is happening pertaining CDF. And the government is supposed to monitor all CDF projects and ensure that the issues of corruption are dealt with. Because we cannot fight corruption by only focusing on politicians. So I want to appeal to government to consider serious monitoring process towards this CDF implementation. We also know that CDF has been increased, and we know that most constituencies are in a boost of actually two CDF now for 2022-2023. But if we don't monitor the implementation of the CDF, then we are likely to be affected by corruption, and the new dawn might not achieve its intended purpose.
International and sports news coming through right after this commercial.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International, in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Welcome back. We now get into our international item. Polling stations closed in Equatorial Guinea on Sunday, 20th November 2022 to begin the counting of the votes. Millions of voters were expected to cast their ballots for the presidential, legislative and municipal elections. According to some members of the voting center, the day was calm and without incidents, with high participation of people in the elections, while the opposition has suggested voting irregularities. A member of the Independent National Electoral Commission described a calm election day. In another international item, living conditions in opposition-held areas of Syria are deteriorating due to a lack of jobs and aid organizations reducing support. Food and fuel prices have also increased, and the economic crisis in neighboring Turkey is having an effect. Here's a roundup of international news.
Polling stations closed in Equatorial Guinea on Sunday after millions of voters were called to cast their ballot for the presidential, legislative and municipal elections. Members of the Independent National Electoral Commission described a calm election day as vote counting kicked off. In all the polling stations, we did not find too many anomalies. People voted normally. The small disturbances are due to the lack of communication between the instructors and the members of the polling station. So there was not much that we can find that could have stopped the voting. Everything went normally. Some members of the voting centers suggested a high voter turnout. However, the opposition has called out irregularities. President Teodoro Obiang Mbasogo has never received less than 90% of the vote in his 43-year tenure. This time he was facing two contenders. Results are expected to be announced in the coming days.
You may think this is a traffic jam, but these lines are caused by a shortage of fuel in Idlib, the most densely populated city in northwest Syria. Ahmed, like many others here, used a motorbike to get around. He was only able to buy 1 liter of fuel, and it cost him $2, a price considered high in the area.
This much won't even get me from home to work. Fuel is only available through the local council. You must register, and there is a long list. If it goes on like this, we won't be able to feed our families.
The Salvation Government of Idlib, founded by a former Al-Qaeda affiliate, has imposed taxes and limited fuel and sugar sales.
The local government is to blame for the shortage because it is not importing enough fuel. The black marketeers sell it to the people at 3 times the normal price. Can you believe that we burn shoes sometimes? We are fed up with our lives.
At least 4 million live in Idlib. Most have fled their homes in other provinces. Nearly half the population lives in refugee camps and depends on humanitarian aid to survive.
I've been burning firewood for the past 2 months. I couldn't even fill my gas cylinder because I can't afford it. I wish I could live like a human being.
The plunging currency in Turkey has spilled over into the city, which adopted the Turkish lira more than 2 years ago. While the world is focused on the humanitarian crisis caused by the war in Ukraine, Syrians are battling with international funding shortfalls. They're hoping that donors and governments will remember their commitments in this 12-year war. Sinem Kösoğlu, Al Jazeera.
On Kyiv's Maidan Square, many lines in Ukraine's recent history intersect. Today they honour a fallen fighter killed on the front line in the east. Russia's invasion is only the latest milestone on Ukraine's journey to try and escape its neighbours' influence. This square has seen tears of joy and tears of anguish, from the Orange Revolution against Russian influence in 2004 and 5 to the demonstrations that began here exactly 9 years ago against the pro-Russian government's decision then to turn its back on the European Union. In this recent past, two brothers have played significant parts. Afghanistan-born Mustafa and Masi Naem, one a lawyer and soldier who lost his eye fighting in June this year, the other a politician whose Facebook post calling people to the Maidan in November 2013 was the catalyst for much of what has happened since.
So our generation at that moment said no. If you compare what happened that days and you compare what's going on now, it's the same emotions, it's the same intentions, and the main reason is what people wanted to be independent.
Mustafa, now a government minister, chose politics and civil resistance. Masi's instinct was to take up arms.
Justice for me is a very big thing because I remember Afghanistan. I remember how we don't have a power to defend ourselves. And in Ukraine we have this power. I speak with myself and I say for myself that I don't go to die for these values. I go to fight for these values. Because if you go to die for some values, one day it's gonna be that you die. But when you fight, one day you win.
Two brothers fighting for the same cause in different ways, whose stories also intersect on Kyiv's central square, where under fresh snow the dead from 8 years of fighting are remembered, along with civilian protesters killed in a hail of police bullets, people who'd answered that Facebook post calling on them to defend democracy, on the square that some say embodies the soul of Ukraine. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, Kyiv.
Let's take a look at what we have in our sports news. The Football Association of Zambia FAZ has provisionally suspended NKANA Football Club striker Alex Nkonga for misconduct and offensive behavior. FAZ General Secretary Adrian Kashala says Nkonga's suspension will remain in effect until the disciplinary procedure was seen out. Nkonga tore his shirt and kicked a SuperSport microphone in the full glare of television cameras and spectators after being substituted in NKANA's 1-0 loss to Power Dynamos. Mr. Kashala says FAZ has received an official complaint from the Zambia Premier League about the misconduct, offensive behavior and bringing the name of the game into disrepute by player Nkonga. He says due to the gravity of the matter, the Secretariat is evoking Article 534 and the player will be suspended from participating in any FAZ organized game until the matter is concluded by the disciplinary committee. Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. 4-year-old girl dies after drowning in a septic tank. BOWMAN LUSAMBO sues Lake Oil Group of Companies Limited, demanding $600,000 United States dollars. Let distribution of impulse to affect 2023 harvest in Chief LITETA'S area. And in international news, Syria economic crisis displaced struggles as aid groups cut funds. And in sports, FAZ suspends NKANA Football Club striker Alex Nkonga for misconduct. Before we go, our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Exodus 20 verse 12, and it reads, "Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be prolonged in the land which the Lord your God gives you." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.